So having covered the first part of my motivations, I do realize that they're not all there, but I just wanted to talk about the most important ones that motivate me. And then now, part two, which is as important, is I want to talk about the reasons why I fear continuing to smoke. So not only am I moving towards something better, I'm also moving away of something worse, something objectively bad. And that is also a motivating factor. A completely different one, maybe just in its formulations, but it really, really helps thinking about this. Especially for me, I'm such a fear-based thinker, a fear-based actor, acting out, that I just thought it would be important to focus on these two. So the first fear I have on continuing to smoke cigarettes or any form of nicotine, tobacco, or whatever, is that the psychological effects of continuing smoking will deteriorate my psyche overall. So the feelings of shame, guilt, and anger, the disappointment and therefore anger that I have towards myself would initially be internalized, knowing me, but inevitably also be externalized in my behavior towards other people. So there will be a serious social effect of me not quitting with smoking because of my repeated intention of an expression of wanting to quit, and then disappointing myself, and then basically projecting that annoyance towards others, and that only creates a vicious circle where my psyche can only start deteriorating even more based on the social feedback that I get, and that only creates more internalized anger, which in turn becomes externalized, and that is just something I cannot live. I cannot, because that's exactly what happened a year ago in my dark ages. This seems like the most obvious one, and it concerns health, but I thought it was important for me to mention. I fear the amount of time that I lose, not only while smoking cigarettes, but also because I smoke cigarettes. The amount of time is going to amount to at least something. And that's time that I don't spend with my loved ones. Not that I have a lot of them right now, but I believe that I will at one point in my life. And I will also have less time to learn, which is something I actually fear. I do want to become more complete, and I do understand that I need time for that. And this cycle of learning and applying and learning and applying and becoming more complete is what makes life precious. But as you can see, there's a time dimension connected to this cycle, which I just want to extend maximally. So That's an important one. This fear is very much connected to the last positive of the first part. The problem that I see if I continue smoking is that I will have this lax mentality towards this project and the idea that I would one day like to be an example to anyone that applies my strategies. And this lax form of dealing with yourself and with life and all the difficulties won't get you very far. So that stands in the way of being an example in the first place by default. But also, life is going to be hard no matter what. So I will either be a negative example to anybody watching or a positive one if I do continue to commit to this idea, this project. And the negative example might be as valuable as the positive one, but in my experience, I will suffer from it. And I sometimes feel like I have done enough of that already. Taking the easy way out has not been favorable for me at all. And I like to believe that I learned something from my phase of mental illness. So let's not try that again. This connected to the last fear. I'm just not sure if I made this clear enough. If I don't do this hard thing, quitting with smoking, there will probably not be anything else that's hard that I can accomplish anytime soon. This is a supporting attitude, a supporting decision for anything that might happen afterwards. This accomplishment I can put in my pocket and gain confidence, and then maybe even win more by doing other difficult things that only were enabled by doing this hard thing for myself. Maybe it was the wrong thing to start with, stopping with smoking. But at the end of the day, I think this had to be done sooner or later. So rather soon than later, because it becomes only worse and worse, this addiction. So I'm happy I did, to be honest, because fear is just about what this whole video is about, but fear is just about the worst thing I've ever experienced. It is literally paralyzing, and I can't seem to function properly under fear. It's just this analysis paralysis, a term that I learned from a friend. And it's just, you stay so static, and then you start reflecting on the fact that you stay static, and then you even fuck yourself twice. It's incredible to deal with. It's, like I said, the most awful thing I've ever experienced.